Good afternoon. Or is it still morning? No, we do better than that. Good afternoon. We got let me just first say, I actually want to start this meeting I want members from our community to speak. And sometimes when you go through challenging times like this, there will be people that will praise your work. There will be people that will be opposed to your work. But when you go through something as traumatic as this city needs people who are not afraid to lead, who are not afraid to make decisions, that are not afraid to build bridges. And unfortunately, some of the same people who are criticizing me are some of the same people who are out there looting, are some of the same people that's out there leading our kids to do destructive things, and I'm not going to apologize for it. And they can stalk me and talk all the bad stuff that they want. But here's the bottom line: I'm not going to apologize for helping to put 100 kids to work. I'm not going to apologize for raising $2 million to help families who have struggled in this community during COVID-19. I'm not going to apologize for helping to pay the rent of families that need help in this community. And I'm not going to apologize for trying to bridge a gap between the African American community and law enforcement. I'm not going to apologize because this is what collective leadership looks like. This is what our leadership should look like in this city. And I'm just not a big fan. I've said this from day one. I've raised more money in this community than probably any African American leader in this city, or any leader, period, for my community in this city. And so for folks to go out there and put misleading information out there is sad. But I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to share a bunch of good news with you all today, given the challenging circumstances that we are in. I got to tell you, our community, we are hurt. We are angry, and justifiably so. We are heartbroken, and these issues continue to happen over and over and over again. And I will tell you, I am somebody over the years, when Michael Brown was killed, I watched the same community, from my white neighbors to my black neighbors criticizing me for going to help raise money to bury Michael Brown. Just 2 weeks ago, we just raised money to help Ahmaud Avery and his family, to help his sister get her master's degree. I went to the University of Minnesota. My family live in southern Minneapolis. And I'm not going to apologize for raising money for George Floyd's family. And I'm not going to apologize for helping to raise money for kids in this community. So I want to start off by letting you hear from people in this community that make up the fabric of this community. And sometimes you get, let me say, I strongly support peaceful protests. I support it. Our young people in our community voices should be heard, but no one should be using the name of George Floyd and his death to tear down our businesses, to shoot at police cars, or to break. One of my friends owned a business on East Wash, and to watch kids sitting there kicking through windows. We as adults should not accept that kind of behavior. And that's why we're doing some of the things that we are doing today. And so I want to start with Tony Robinson's family. And I remember just years ago, we were in the same boat. And our community was very, very divided. And I remember going to the police department. I remember talking to Tony Robinson's grandmother. And I wanted to make sure that we saw justice, but at the same time, I didn't want to see our city burned down. I love this family. I've always told them that I would support them. The same people out there claim that I was the first person in this organization raised, I think, $27,000 to bury that young man. And the same people out there saying we stole the money. So just don't listen to this crap. Let's make sure that we focus on what's important. Let's make sure that we can bridge and bring our communities together. And let's make sure that we allow peaceful protests, and that those young people voices that want to be heard, that can be heard, and that's why we're laying out a plan to be able to support that. So I want to bring up Tony Robinson's family. I want them to open up today and have them share a few words, and then some of our parents that live in this community. Come on.
Good afternoon, everybody. My voice is fairly hoarse. My name is Maureen Carter. I am the aunt of Tony Robinson Jr. I would like to first start by saying the unpopular thing, which is I commend all of you for coming out here. Do I feel like it's enough? Not yet, but it's definitely a start. And it's a really beautiful start. The second thing, I guess, is I was always taught, and it's unfortunate that it's not more prevalent in society, that you judge a man by the content of his character and the integrity that he has shown. Michael Johnson, in particular, was the first leader, period, in our community that I saw. After my nephew died, that immediately reached out to his hand of help, and it has not stopped. 5 years later, each one of us are on a battlefield, but we're all on the same team. We might not all have the same weapons, but we're all in the same fight. I am with peaceful protest. I think, though, that it's misconstrued the difference between peaceful and nonviolent. Black people are nonviolent, and we've been met with threat after threat. And what you're seeing, if there's any teachers, when a 4-year-old is throwing a temper tantrum or he comes in and he's having a behavioral issue, the first thing that the teachers are trained to do is to shower them with love. Because there must be something traumatic that's happening in their lives that this is equated to. And so, right now what you're seeing is the trauma of oppression being displayed as a temper tantrum. And it should be showered with love and understanding. I don't agree with the riots, but I will not tell disenfranchised people how it is they should react to years of being downtrodden. I appreciate y'all. I have a 4-year-old son who wants to be a police officer when he grows up. And I don't want to have a conversation with him about why the next time he sees an officer at 5 years old, he has to make sure his hands are visible. He has to make sure that he doesn't run because you might get shot. And even if you don't, you might get shot. I guess I'm conflicted because we have conversations with our children that you all don't have. And I don't want to have this conversation anymore. We've been fighting too long, and seeing all of your faces here lets me know that we have teammates on the other side, and there shouldn't be a side. If peace didn't work and violence doesn't work, then unity is the only thing that's going to work. That's all I have to say.
I really don't like large crowds, and I've been in for the last 4 days. I want to thank you, Chief, for the 3rd day and not being around, because the 2nd day was a war zone. There were kids dropping from gas. There were kids dropping from tear gas. They were sitting there. There was no leadership at the and chaos. The only thing I could do at that moment, the only thing I'm doing is making sure they're okay. Because what matters is people that don't look like me have the same rights that I have. I can walk out a door And ain't nobody gonna say to me, okay, you can get killed. But out downstairs, out downtown, for those of you who have not been there, it's a unity thing. They are young, they are all colors, and they're trying to stand for what is right. I often say that that's what's important. By giving them the opportunity to be peaceful and taking away the National Guard, you have had no problems for 2 nights in a row. You have to remember that. They have the right to make their statement. They have the right to get what I have without being said I gotta fight for it. You have the right to say we don't have to do this. We are not like this. Madison can change a world if you stand up. And we become unified. All of us. Look, I don't put this down because all I'm doing right now is making sure the kids are okay outside. And I'm asking anybody who's my age or over 40 just to walk with us. Because there are white supremacists out there, and I've seen them 2 nights in a row, 3 nights in a row, trying to do different things. I watched a man instigate these kids to violence on the first night. They didn't do this. They were brought to this. And they followed the lead. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't have been leading. That's my truth. Second night, I watched these kids go down under the National Guard and the Madison SWAT. And it was scary. It was very, very scary. I want that never to happen here again. Because I have respect for anybody who puts on a uniform. It's a hard road to hoe. But as I'm saying that, because I wore a military uniform, you must stand for what is right, because it's your job to lead. It's your job to protect. And it's your job to say, this isn't right. Thank you.
Before we start the program, I asked Eric to come up. We thought it was important to hear from a Black mother from our community to share her experience.
Hello everyone, my name is Erica O'Neill, and like you said, I'm a single Black mother. I did not go to the protest, but I did go down when he put up that he needed some volunteers to go down to downtown Madison and clean up. So when I did that, I shared my post on Facebook, and I got so much anger from my own people, like, you know, you're the only Black person down there, like, look behind you. And it really just hurt me because I moved from Chicago to move up here because I wanted something different for my family. Madison is where I call home now. I love my city, I love working here, and I love the people that work here. And yes, I'm angry. Yes, I'm tired of seeing the violence that's going on with my people. And I'm angry just as well as everyone else is. But I'm decided to channel that anger with love. And as I look around this room and see law enforcement and people of different color, this is not just a Black issue. It's all about issue. And we need, and I'm sitting here with love from my heart and almost in tears, because we need you guys to be the voice with us. We're the victims, but we need you guys to stand up and help us deal with this. So I'm here for my people as a woman of color and asking you guys that we need you guys' help. I don't know what it's going to take. I don't know what it's going to happen, but I'm trying to be the change I want to see. I'm not out there yelling. I'm believing peaceful protest, but I'm here also to learn and to ask you guys that we need you guys' help. So I'm here to learn, taking all advice. I'm listening. We need you guys' help. Thank you.
Let me I'm so thankful to see so many people from our community. The reason I asked folks to line up, I wanted folks to see there's a couple of loud voices out there in the community, and this is the fabric of this community. Our police officers are the fabric of this community. White people are the fabric of this community. Black people are the fabric of this community. Our journalists are the fabric of this community. Our business owners are the fabric of this community. And when you have people who are just wilding out and out of control, I just cannot fathom how we as adults can sit and allow these things to simply happen. And I would tell you, as a black male that's 40-something years old, I am pissed off. Because you continue to see these same things happening over and over and over again. But I'm choosing to channel my energy in a different direction. We've talked to Tammy Baldwin over the phone. We've been talking to the mayor to look at whether it's legislative issues. We've been talking to pastors all over the country. We've been raising money. And we have to be very, very strategic around how we address these issues. So let me just share with you what we've been doing, and I want to update you all today. When the riot started to happen, or when I saw it immediately, I want to just praise. Let me just say, I am not in opposition to anyone. I praise the work that Urban Triage is doing with Freedom Inc. I love seeing black people and white people and straight people, and I saw LGBTQ folks. It was a beautiful sea of the folks that make up the fabric of our community. Then I also watched how people came in, a small, short few of people, and tried to create what I would say a race riot. Going in, and some of the same people out there on these videos encouraging kids to break windows and to break into cars, and we should not tolerate that kind of behavior. So I decided, people criticized us for it, but I'm going to just tell you what I'm doing and what we're doing, and those who are criticizing just simply just criticize. We decided that we wanted to help our downtown neighbors. These are the same neighbors where we were asking some of those same folks that we paid their rent for. Who paid their rent? You paid her rent? So that same lady that's out there screaming, we paid her rent. And she's sitting here, man, wondering where the money went. Now, those same folks downtown that now need our help helped us raise $2 million. $2 million to support families in our community. And we decided that we were going to step up and help them. So we launched a GoFundMe page. And we said we want 100 people to show up downtown, and we want them to clean up. And guess what? 3,000 people signed up. We also said that we wanted to raise $50,000. Guess what? We're almost at $200,000. And I want to just, sometimes leadership can be a very, very lonely place. This would not have happened if the mayor didn't call. The mayor was humble enough. She called me, and I ended up talking to Henry Sanders, and we mobilized, and I called some of these people standing behind me. And we got 3,000 people to go out there over a couple of days to help our neighbors. Then our campaign, over 2,700 people contributed $190,000. $190,000 to support our downtown neighbors. Then today, and let me just set the record. Everybody, well, these are rich white folks. Let me just set the record straight on who we're helping. And it's okay to help white people too, because white people help us. But over 75 businesses were damaged. 50% of the businesses in the downtown district are women and minority-owned businesses. Many of those businesses lack the appropriate insurance to be able to support them. And I ended up talking to the mayor, who asked me to work with Tiffany Kinney, who's the executive director of the Business Improvement District. We're going to release those funds to her, but we're going to work with Martin Mackey, because I wanted to make sure that we had an African-American leader working with Jenny Setek from the business community to distribute those funds accordingly, and that's what we're going to do. But today, I got some amazing news from a good friend of mine. John McKenzie. John, come on up, you and your wife, please. John is an amazing developer here. I want your son to come to me. Come on, John. This family is absolutely amazing. When I wanted to open up the Boys and Girls Club in Sun Prairie, I went to them, and I originally was, he don't even know this, I really was going to ask them for $50,000. And I said, I really need $1 million. And I said, John, would you consider contributing $1 million to Boys and Girls Club so we can get this work done? And he immediately said, yes. And I said, wait, did you talk to your wife about this? And he said, you know what, let me come back in about 2 hours. And and I'll come back and talk to you. The same family turned around and helped one of our kids, gave us a $100,000 scholarship. So one of our babies in this community can graduate and go to UW for free. The same family called me, we were raising money, and it was Joe Allen, called me crying, saying, I come from a place of privilege, but Michael, I want to give you $50,000 to help black mothers and others who are struggling in this community during this pandemic. And then they called me today and said, I'm going to let them announce it. Called me today and it just brought me to tears. And I just want to say, I appreciate you all. Our community love you all. And this is, I think, a major announcement for those businesses downtown. John McKenzie.
Thank you, Michael. We can't solve all the problems, but we want to be a part of the solution. And so I called Michael. We've got 15 people that work for us in our apartment business who are maintenance specialists, cleaning people, and would you raise your hands back there, guys? Well, we just said to Michael, anybody has any kind of an emergency need, anybody needs something fixed or cleaned or whatever down there in this time of emergency, just call us and we'll be there. And then we build apartments, and Jack today got 3 of our contractors, and we're working on more, but Dave Jones Plumbing, Ace Electric, and Olson Toon Landscaping have volunteered their time free to come and fix anything that needs to be fixed, and we can do sprinkler work, plumbing work, electrical work, landscaping, and on it goes. So, I mean, I just think this is what Madison is, right? It isn't that few people who are causing problems. And I see this over and over and over. Thank God we got Michael
back. All right, so the next thing on the agenda is I want to share with you, I want to talk about the Peacekeepers program. One of the things that concerned us, we watched all the videos on social media, and yes, there were people who were outside influences, pick no bone about it. There were some adults in this community called themselves leaders that I saw on those videos encouraging young people to throw bricks through windows, to vandalize our businesses. And I told them, I said, I'm going to call you out if I see it. And let me make this clear. Where I grew up, Allied Drive, North Fort is like a suburb from where I grew up from. So I don't run from anybody, but you can't be an adult in this community and have kids doing stuff like that. You know, what happened if a young person go and burn down a building and one of us as an adult told them to do that? Or the young person or whoever shot that bullet in a police car and they end up getting caught. And they catch a felony and they end up regretting that as an adult. We got to stand up and fight for our kids even when they don't want to hear. And I watched the video, and I don't know who this gentleman was. There was an African-American man when the young people was trying to break into Goodman Jewelers. Who saw that video? Anybody see that video? Anybody else? Who saw that video? Did y'all see that brother? It was a brother that stood against all those kids and said, stop. Please don't do this. Please don't do this. And there was other adults that told him to get the hell out the way and let these kids tear this place down. That's not leadership, you all. This is our city. Now, I'm telling you, we should be mad. We should be angry. But that's not the type of anger I believe we should display. So I want to call up before I talk about this Peacekeepers program, I want to, come say something, sister.
Hello, my name is Sheree Wallace, and I live in the Meadowwood community. I'm a community leader. And first of all, I want to say to you, Michael Johnson, I really admire and respect you, and I thank you for all the work that you have did did in this community and the way you have shown leadership. I also want to thank the Madison Police District, the West District, Lieutenant Patty. People say they're about community and want to make a change. So if you want to make a change with the police department, the West District has a community advisory board where we talk out situations and they listen. Then community policing, Mayor Soglin, please invest some more money in the Madison Police Department so we can get more community policing. It works. When police is attending our events, our community suppers, they are building relationships. That makes a difference. Yes, the police department needs, and police, stop dehumanizing people when you arrested them. If they tell you they have an issue, try to release, or don't be so forceful and restraining. If you already got them in cuffs, then you restrain them. So we need a social change, we need a educational change, we need a healthcare change. We all need to be in this together and work together. And we need to respect each other's position as we doing this job. This Wisconsin, Madison could be great. We have people like you, Michael Johnson, like the city trying to provide money for us to do this work. This work goes deep. It goes back to slavery. So we coming all the way trying to build people up, build communities up. So that's what I wanted to say. And thank you, West District, for being the type of police y'all are.
So I want to Mayor, I want to let you know, when you're in a leadership position, you may not always agree. And just like people may not agree with all the decisions that she made. I remember when Gloria was the deputy mayor, and me and her fought all the time, and now I think we're like best friends. And Mayor, I see some of the challenges that you face, and I just want to say, when you called me the other day, I was at home, I was eating dinner with my family, and I had been watching the protest, and I was like, thank God, it's going really, really well. And the mayor called me, and I could hear the concern in her voice. And we touched bases pretty much the entire evening. And so I wanted to say, we appreciate your leadership. We know that there's challenges out there, but I wanted to bring our community together and to respond the appropriate way. So let's give a round of applause to them.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much for asking me to join you here today. I want to thank the other elected officials that are here as well in the crowd. And I'm not going to start a list because I'll probably miss somebody, but thank you all. You know who you are, and thanks for being here. And I want to thank all the community members that have joined us. And I want to say a big and special thanks to John and the McKenzie family for everything that you're willing to do for our State Street businesses and everything you do in our community. It really means a lot. And let me say again, as I have said before, unequivocally, that George Floyd should be alive today. Tony Robinson should be alive today. That Black lives always have and always will matter. And that I understand the anger that builds when the world doesn't act out. And yet, I cannot and will not condone the destruction that we've seen downtown. Let me say, too, that we need to find ways to move forward together that are real and impactful and lasting. Council President Carter said last night at the beginning of our council meeting, a quote from Benjamin Crump, the attorney for George Floyd's family, and I want to repeat it here today because I think it's so powerful. Attorney Crump said, "Let's take a breath for George. Take a breath for peace. Let's take a breath for justice. And let's take a breath to heal our country." I am so thankful for everyone in our community that is stepping up to help in this incredibly difficult time. And I am so happy to be here to support the initiative that Michael Johnson has worked on to bring peacekeepers to our downtown. These folks will help to bring about moments of peace and healing while supporting the protesters and working to keep everyone safe. The rain last night was a breath of fresh air, and the protests were peaceful. And I want to thank all of the activists who worked hard to make that true. And today, up and down State Street, artists of color, funded by the city's arts program, painted gorgeous murals and messages over the boarded up windows of our downtown. But we have more work to do. I welcome the call that the governor made today to focus on changing police use of force policies across the state. And I have directed my staff to work with our police department to review or to continue the review of our use of force policies in light of the governor's call. As part of our ongoing commitment at the city to policing and criminal justice reform, we're moving forward with the creation of an independent police auditor position. This was identified by the Ad Hoc Committee on Police Policy and Procedure and the OIR Group as a top priority for the city. And we are moving to get that position approved, posted, and hired. And the Police and Fire Commission this year will be hiring a new chief of police after extensive community engagement. It's been hard for them to do that engagement in the pandemic, as you can imagine. They are going to have to get creative, but we are committed to that engagement, and I am confident that they will get it done in a manner that incorporates robust community input and moves quickly. The city is also happy to support new community testing programs, a partnership between community-based organizations and Public Health Madison-Dane County. Increased testing has been a top priority of the city during the COVID-19 pandemic, and being able to offer testing in different community settings to make it more accessible has long been part of our plan. And I can't speak here today without reminding all of you of the continued advice from our public health department to be very, very cautious about the dangerous COVID-19 virus. It's still out there. The pandemic isn't over just because other things have moved to the fore. Please wear your face coverings. Thank you, everybody, for wearing masks in this room. And thank you, the Boys and Girls Club, for providing them to make that possible. Wash your hands. Use your hand sanitizer, social distance as much as you can, and if you're out in crowds, please go home, take a shower afterwards. Make sure that you're doing everything you can to protect yourself from this virus. Not only because each and every one of you is valuable, but because we know that, like so many other things in this world, the COVID-19 pandemic has a disproportionately negative impact on communities of color. I want to thank again everyone who is stepping up to help in this difficult time. It's really moving for me to see all of you here, to look at all of your faces, and to know that so many people in our community care and want to make a positive difference. Please, please, be safe, be well, be kind, take care of yourselves, and take care of each other. Thank you.
Before we announce the Peacekeepers program, I want you to hear from two African American men. And so I'm going to ask both of them to come up, share a few words. After that, we're going to talk about the Peacekeepers programs, and then we want to bring all of the police officers up. There's another African American male from FC Madison. So actually, it's three of them that's going to say a few words. So I'm going to ask him to come up as well. And then we're going to ask the police officers to come up. We're going to kneel for a few minutes in honor of George Floyd, and then we're going to conclude with the program.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Alton Cunningham. I'm a professional MMA fighter, personal trainer, fitness boxing coach. I'd like to thank Michael Johnson for giving me this opportunity to be here, be a part of history, be a part of something so impactful on the community. And, you know, at first I didn't think I'd have any words to say. So, one, I'd like to start with my experiences from Saturday night. I watched a young man who's very, very close to me, 17 years old, very bright, very smart, leave out the house to attend a protest that, as we all know, Saturday was very, very rough for the community. It was very, very hard, very, very stressful time. I'm sure a lot of us in here couldn't sleep Saturday night. And the first thing I experienced was anger, frustration. Why? Why would you go be a part of something that you know that they are rioting, they are looting? And one thing for one, I wanted to make sure that he was safe. But for two, I just couldn't wait for him to get home so we can have that talk, so I can let him know how I feel. And what that turned out to be was something so mind-boggling to me. The moment he got home, the very, very first thing that came over me was just red, anger. Why? Why did you go down there? I see tear gas. I see your eyes is red, so you got tear gas. Well, how could you put your life in danger like that, knowing what can happen there? And the very, very first thing he said to me was, Alton, I put my life on the line every single day that I step outside this door. And what that, instantly I was taken back. And what that brought to me was, we are all in a different lane right now in regards to how we're approaching this scenario with the death of George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery, Eric Garner, Breonna Taylor, and many others of many different colors that experience deaths, unlawful deaths at the hands of police officers. And that just showed me that we're all on the same side. We're all in different lanes, but we're all fighting the same battle. And that's to bring justice. That's to bring unity to everybody, that we are one, that we're one people. And I look around today and I see people of many colors. I see I see officers, I see the mayor, I see the police chief, my fellow brothers and sisters. There's a quote from Remember the Titans. that goes, "Are you blind? Can't you see that's my brother?" That's so powerful to me. That's so powerful to me. And guys, we have an opportunity to change history for the good, for the better. Everybody is in here for one reason only, and that's to bring more justice. More than just that, bring more justice, but bring more knowledge and more peace to the community, but to our country. Our country is hurting right now. I get it. I get why people want to riot. I have many friends that's talking to me about why am I not rioting? Why am I not protesting? I'm just protesting in my own different way. You know, I don't agree with the violence at all. I don't. However, it's hard to tell somebody who believes so strongly on the violence, that's not the way, because we all have our own different perspective. The key is for all of us to get on the same path, and that's to bring unity and justice to the system, and that we are all one. I don't understand why we're still dealing with problems that we had 60 years ago. It's almost like we're in another civil rights movement, and we are. And I see all lives matter trending on social media, and that bothers me a lot. And here's why. All lives cannot matter until Black lives matter. All lives cannot matter until Black lives matter. You know, and I got, just like Mike, I've experienced negativity. I've had people call me, I've had people practically hate me for the words that I've said, and I always try to take a neutral ground with everything that I do. That's just who I am. I try to love with everybody. That's just how I am. And more importantly, I want everybody in here to know that I love you. All of you. The sheriff, police chief, guys, I love you. I love you, just like you're my brother. I understand that it's not going to be easy. I understand that we have an uphill battle to heal this country from COVID-19, from the racism, from our struggling economy. But one thing I do know is that we are strong, we are one, and we shall overcome. I love you all. Thank you.
Peace, everybody. I said, peace, everybody. We say all of us are none. Can we give one all of us a none check? All of us? All of us? All of us? Now I got a problem. The problem is that it's not all of us or none, because we see a whole bunch of people in this room and not a lot of people from amongst our community supporting Brother Mike. That makes me very upset. Simply because when he put things out there in the community to help the community, everybody on deck. But the minute they disagree with him, they abandon him. Now, I'm a loyal brother. This brother that stood by me through some thin times. And I'm going to always stand with him because I know he got a heart for the people. And that's a fact. We cannot ignore why we're here. We are here because another innocent life was taken by police, recklessly. And it was pure, unadulterated neglect for human life. That is not okay. That cannot be condoned in any sense of the word. And we cannot put the value of property above the value of life. We don't want to make that. What I do want to say is this, is that we have a lot of police in the room. But we should have this kind of unity, or this kind of union, only when a life is taken. In order for us to advance our cause in unifying our communities and making sure that we have safer communities, this has to be an ongoing effort, so that you're in the community and you know the community.
The cure to implicit bias is simply communication, understanding, sitting with the people that you don't look like, not being afraid to enter into areas and communities with people and break bread at the table with people that you ordinarily wouldn't break bread with. Because implicit bias is a big thing. Our communities are policed more than anybody's communities. We're looked at heathens in the world. And the fact of the matter is that we live, breathe, we thrive, we got the same heart in our chest that you have in your chest, the same blood that come out of your veins, come out of my veins, and that there's nothing that separates us except obligation and responsibility to who we are as people. Even though you're police, you're still people. Underneath that uniform are people who have hearts. And my message here today is one of unity. I know y'all know Minister Khalid in this community. I've been organizing in this community for a while. And I know some of y'all was thinking I was going to come up here and go crazy. But that's not the case, right? We're here to bring peace today. We just came from Milwaukee breaking up looters in our communities. You're not going to tear down our communities with that we're trying to build up. But there's a different way that you address the people in the community. You can't come out and criticize them the way they criticize you. You got to sit back and listen to what they have to say, because in the midst of their anger and their frustration, when those things calm down, then we can have a discussion. And I want to thank our brother Mike for always being courageous to step outside of the box and implement forms of justice that not everybody gonna be on the same page with, and everybody not gonna like it, but simply because he's from our community, he's our brother, we need to stand with him. I done bear witness, this man who raised millions of dollars for the inner cities of Madison, Wisconsin, Dane County, abroad, and across the country for our people. How dare anybody say one thing against this man if you can't do the same thing he's doing? If you can do the same thing he's doing, then speak up. If you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. He's bringing forth solutions. And we're going to bring peace today. And if anybody try to oppose us, we let them know that it's all of us or none. Because we going down there and we're going to make sure that we protect our community. And we're not going to accept no resistance, period. That makes sense to everybody? One more time. All of us? All of us? All of us?
That's why I love Khalif. I remember we went down to Chicago, and I said, Khalif, I need some backup. A little 12-year-old girl got killed on a playground. And the mayor of Chicago had called and asked if I would speak at this church. And this little girl was just on the playground playing. And I remember going to her funeral, and there was 700 or 800 kids in that church. And I looked at all the adults in that room, and it was just numb. And I remember us bringing all those kids up and said, these kids deserve to live. And so Khalid has always, every time, I need some reinforcement, because people are like, you walk in this church and you speak out against the GDs and those BDs, those are gangs for white folks who may not know what those are. And I said, I don't care who it is, somebody shoot and kill a kid, why the hell is everybody quiet and not saying anything? So I want to say, Mr. Khalid, thank you for always being there. Let me, real quick, because we are way over. This program that we're starting called Peacekeepers, I talked a little bit about it. We're going to hire Gloria Reyes. Gloria, I'm not going to let you talk, but I want you to come up. Gloria is the former deputy mayor of this city. She is the recent school board president. She has started her own company. She is a retired police officer. I respect this woman. I've asked her and Anthony Cooper, who we started the Focus Interruption Coalition together, and it will be this sister that's going to train the 75 people that we're going to hire to help support the protesters that are out there, to help guide them. If there's medical issues out there, they're going to call EMS. And I just want to say thank you for stepping up to the challenge to make that happen. So I'll give her a round of applause. I want to ask that all the police officers come up. And as they come up, I want to applaud the sheriff. I also want to applaud our interim chief. When this incident happened, I was upset and I didn't know how to. I didn't know how to respond. So I went for a walk. Come on up here, Tim, because you play a major role in this too. I went for a walk, and God put it on my spirit to challenge our chiefs in Dane County in a respectful way. So I emailed all of them and said, when African American men are killed, rarely do I see, I could be wrong, rarely do I see the chiefs of police speak out against it. So I'm asking you all within 24 hours to condemn what happened, because I got black mothers calling me in tears. I watched my wife cry watching George Floyd be killed, and all the police chiefs, every last one of them, put out a statement, went public, and talked to our African American community. And I just want to say I appreciate that for showing heart and courage early on. And because of that, no other municipality in this country that I know did that. We watched a week later, Washington, D.C. do the same thing. And now we're watching other municipalities do the same thing. And then Chief Wall, I called him the other day. I heard from our protesters they did not like it. The lieutenant governor called me and said, hey, Mike, we're sending the National Guard again. And he wanted to explain why they were doing it. And I remember calling Chief Wall. I said, is there any way you can pull back on the military here? And if you watched last night, the decision that he made based on the advice that he got from people, he had a very peaceful protest. And so we do things like that across the country. We don't refer to the folks who are out there protesting as thugs. If you loot, we shoot. That kind of inflammatory language does nothing to address these issues. So I want to ask us, in memory of, I'm going to bring up state, actually, where's our elected officials at? I want you up here too, because in order for us to change these issues, it's going to have to be done from a policy perspective. And so we want you front and center up here with us. And I'm going to ask Sheila Stubbs, who is an amazing deputy governor. State representative, and she is an amazing woman, and her husband is going to, as we kneel with our police officers, to pay respect to the humanity of African American lives, to the humanity of respecting black lives, to the memory of our brother who was murdered at the hands of law enforcement officials. We're going to kneel. We're going to pray. If you're not a person of faith, you can meditate. And to my brothers who are Muslims, and to my brothers who are part of the Black Panthers, if you want to express yourself, you can express it and do it with our cops. And this is what our community looks like. This is our community. You are our community. Give it up for Sheila Stubbs.
Hallelujah. First, I just want to thank you, President and CEO Michael Johnson, for giving me this invitation. I don't take it lightly. I don't take it for granted, but it's necessary. As the first African American ever elected to the state legislature for right here in Dane County, breaking 170 years of history. lets me know that change can happen and change will happen. I also stand here as the longest serving Dane County Supervisor, serving 15 years on the county board representing the south side of Madison. I stand here as a mother, a broken mother. I stand here as a wife, as an elected official. As someone who has experienced racial profiling in this very city, someone who understands how traumatic experiences can be, it's reality. And Mr. Floyd's death showed others who did not know or pretended not to know or disregarded that it happened. We have been here time and time again. In 1992, it was Rodney King. In 2012, it was Trayvon Martin. In 2015, it was Sandra Bland. In March, it was Breonna Taylor. Last week, it was George Floyd, just to name a few. Let's please remember the countless mothers, the fathers, the aunts, the sons, the daughters that should have been here today, but their life was shortened because of police brutality. In 1838, the city of Boston established the first publicly funded, organized police force. 25 years before the Emancipation Proclamation, it came into effect in 1863. But it is now 2020, and we seem to be in the same danger of dying at the hands of police brutality as we were back then, before the civil rights. So I pause to say, what has changed? Our youth are in the streets, not at home. They're in the streets protesting, not just for George Floyd, but for Tony Robinson, for others who lost their lives. Yesterday, the youth laid bouquets at the flowers at Dane County Sheriff Mahoney's house. They laid bouquets of flowers, and each bouquet represents the death of unarmed Black people. But what I hasten to tell you today is there are not enough memorial bouquets in this country to represent those who are deceased due to police brutality. A lot of attention has been on the few that choose to destroy the property. But let's get back to the narrative. The few whom our youth actively instruct them to stop vandalizing and looting. We must be here for our neighbors, for our small businesses on State Street. And we must also be here for our youth and our future in the days after the protests and the nights the cleanup with broken glass and graffiti all over the place in our city that we call home. At yesterday's protest, one youth still in high school rebounded his experience with police and spoke about reaching out to elected officials. He's smart enough to know that. He said, do not come to me with your ideas and your promises, but please come to me when it's already done. Sounds like you know it has to be at a policy level. We are in pain. Some of us are scared for our children. I'm in prayer every day before my husband, who's right here with me, Bishop said, before he leaves out of the house, we pray. I know what it's like to be in front of law enforcement and not know one move left or one move right, if you're going to go home or someone going to capture that moment so your family has the truth of what's really happening. Our country, our state, our country, our county, we're in pain. We must meet the people in Madison. And I'm calling out elected officials. We must meet the people in Madison. And we must end racism. Yes, in this city, in this country, and in this county. Not just have listening sessions, and not just have forums, and not have brainstorming ideas, but it's time that we really address the underlying issue of racism. But with legislation action in the city, the county, the state, and the federal levels, there are bills sitting right now at our state capitol in legislation that requires a bill I introduced that's called End Racial Disparities, End Racial Profiling, Include Equity and Inclusion in our bills, data collection. And there are bills that will address excessive use of force. These have got to get passed. It is time that we pass those bills in the state of Wisconsin. We know what to do, and I challenge my colleagues all over from the county to the state, to the city, and to the federal government to help our community, the Black community. Let me be real specific about my request. By doing what we need to do, and it can be done, because we've been back far too long, and it's real. And in my conclusion, and I quote, on April 16, 1963, from his jail cell in Birmingham, Alabama, the late Dr. Martin Luther King wrote, "Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere." We are caught in an inescapable network of mutuality, tied in a single garment of destiny. Whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly. Thank you.
Before I bring up Bishop Scott, you are an amazing speaker. You've come a long way. You know, whoa. Madam President, hey, you're talking about Michelle Obama. I want to ask that all of our Muslim brothers, let's go to power on what we're about to do. So I'm going to ask that we can lift up some of our officers with the community. I'm going to ask some of our officers if you can come front and center. Some of our Muslim brothers, if you can stand, raise your hand. I'm going to ask everybody to kneel. I'm not going to do that. I know they're old, so. Man, I think you should come up front there. Yes. Khalif, I think you should come. I think y'all should come up right here. So our FC team, I think you all should come on in. Then we need a black woman up front. We got Sheila. Where's our black mothers? Come on up, my sister. Come on up. Come on, you up front. I'm going to ask Bishop to close us out in prayer, but once Bishop closes us out in prayer, I'm going to ask Sister to close us out. I want to end with the voice of a black woman. I apologize, there was a brother that was supposed to speak from your organization. If you can, he went way over, but if you're okay, we can let you talk for him. We'll do it right afterwards. Bishop, if you can take us away.
Let us look to the Lord in prayer. Most gracious and eternal God, our Father, we humbly, reverently, and boldly come before thy throne of grace. Lord, first to say thank you for your loving kindness and your tender mercy. Lord, we thank you for our leaders that are gathered in this sacred room today. Thank you for the vision of Michael Johnson, the mayor, all of our city officials, our sheriff, all our police officers, those who protect our state, and to all those persons that are here standing in the gap one with another. Lord, we know, oh God, that you have brought us together for a time such as this. And Father, we are ever so grateful and thankful because we know that you will continue to lead us along the way. Father, your word declares very plainly and very simple, if my people that are called by my name will humble themselves and pray, and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then will you hear from heaven and forgive us of our sins and heal our land. Lord, our land is in need of healing. Lord, our land is in need of restoration. But God, we know you're yet able. And so God, today you have empowered us to come and to talk about it and do and be about it. Michael have laid out the vision, and we will take the vision and run with the vision until you bid us to come. But it is our prayer. In Christ Jesus' name we pray, and we all declare, Amen.
All of us or none? All of us or none? All of us or none?
I'm going to talk to people. Hi, my name is Brittany. I'm a co-chapter lead for All of Us or None in Madison, Wisconsin. As many of you saw, we didn't kneel. Doesn't mean the same thing as Kaepernick anymore. It doesn't. Kneeling doesn't feel the same. A man lost his life in my home city that I grew up in by officers. I'm not going to sit here and condemn all of you that are here in Madison. I've met some of you on the street. Some of you have met many of the kids that I've worked with in this community. What I want to ask for is one thing. No longer shall we let the complexion of our skin be the reason that we can't make a connection and create unity in our community. I want us to work together. As a biracial woman, I have a privilege. I oftentimes am protecting my Black brothers and sisters from violence in our city. I am sick and tired of being a shield when they should be able to speak up, say hello to you, and not be worried. That's a truth. I thank you all for showing up today. I know it takes courage. I know it took courage for our people to show up today. I'm not going to sit here and cry, because to be honest, it's been numbing. It's been a real numb week. To sit here as watching leaders like Michael and many other leaders across our community step up and try and figure out how the hell we're still in this mess. But what we're going to do for the first time is move forward. We're not going to give up. This is going to be a fight that we have to do together. Thank you.
Hey everybody, so I'm the chapter leader of All of Us in Madison, and I appreciate everybody for being here. I'm grateful that I was able to close out because now I'm able to give everybody an idea of what some of these people may be experiencing, what some of these children what may be going through. So before we look at them and judge them by the complexion of their skin, we have to realize that these children are going through something deeper than we actually understand. Before my first experience with racism, I was 15 when I first experienced racism. Before experiencing racism, I had been abused mentally, physically, emotionally. I was molested most of my childhood. My virginity was taken from me. My mother was on drugs. My father was on drugs. My father was locked up for more than 15 years of his life. My mother had to get through her situations with her being on drugs. I didn't have the support from my mother. I didn't have the support from my father. My family treated me like an outcast because of the decisions my mother chose to make. So I was to blame for her decisions. So I didn't have my family to buy me clothes and buy me shoes and to love me the way I deserved to be loved, right? I ended up moving to Indiana. This was the first time I ever experienced racism. I was 15, and one of the officers told me to take my black ass back to Chicago. From that day forward, me and my friends, 15, 16, 17-year-olds, were targets. We were labeled as a gang. for being children, walking together as children down the street. I have brothers right now that are incarcerated for over 100 years for things that most of them did not do, for cases that were put on them. We had Tony Robinson, who lived in Madison, who lost his life by a police officer. Every day, people are targeted that look like me because they look like me, and no longer should people be targeted because of the complexions of their skin, because we all go through something so much more serious, so much more devastating than actually facing racism. People do not have love from their families, and then to go out into the streets and to have the same treatment from your family, how can you learn to love yourself? We are turning our people against each other. The reason that we do not know how to love each other as a people, because of the years of systematic racism that was put against us. Now we don't even know how to love ourselves, so we don't even know how to love the community. But we need the community, including the police officers, to teach us how to love each other and to teach us how to love ourselves, because we weren't given that privilege. That's a privilege that was not in a lot of homes like mine. So when you go outside and you go to do your jobs, remember that these children want to live. These children are trying to live, and these children have lives to live. And we all have lessons that we need to be taught. Most of these things that people around me know were taught to them. I didn't have the same privilege to have those things taught to me, but I had friends, community members to support me, to show me that I am more than what the people treated me as if I was. I felt like I was nothing before moving to Madison. Coming to Madison has uplifted me and showed me my value, showed me how to use my voice and allow my voice to be that upliftment for somebody else. Because I don't have to be a product of my environment, and neither do these children in these communities. They need love and they need support, and they need it from all of us, because it takes a village. It takes a village, and we are the village that the people are waiting on. So as we all go to our homes, or as we all go to the streets to continue to protest for the lives of all of those that we lost, it's not just George Floyd. We lost many lives by the hands of police. We lost many lives by the hands of each other. But now I say it's time to stop. It's time for us to unify. It's time for us to use the skills that we have all been given to actually make change and to save our world. This is our world. This is our planet. These are our streets. And it's time for us to own them together.
This is your last speaker, you all.
Hi everyone, I'm JC Banks. I'm here speaking on behalf of the team, my teammates, the club, and as a black man. I'm from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I want to thank you for all the stuff you do. I grew up in the Boys and Girls Club in Milwaukee. My dad worked there, the one where the rags and stuff were a couple years ago. So it's good to see that good things are still happening. I will say that I have been racially profiled before. I did think twice during the quarantine about going for a jog and wearing a mask or a hood on. It's hard to follow everything that's been going on, but I have a 6-month-old kid, and my wife is white, and she is very nervous about what's going to happen to our kid growing up, and that's just not okay. I know the majority of officers are very good. I respect them. I thank you for all you do. At the same time, I am very nervous when a cop pulls up behind me. I don't know what's going to happen. So things do need to change, a lot of things. But as a team, we're here to just say that we're here to facilitate conversations, discussions, and we want action. I think that's the biggest thing. There's a lot of attention on what's going on right now, and I think we need to put it towards action, specific things that we need to get done, and not just general statements. So thank you for having us, and I'm glad to see this is going on.
Again, thanks to everybody that come out. If you see the protest, our people will be in uniforms like this. Tim Metcalf, are you still here? Tim, thank you. Tim went and purchased think 500 of these. So Tim, thank you so much. Tim was also concerned. Come on up here. Tim is like my white brother. We hang out together. We do a bunch of stuff together. And let them in. Like if they want to come in, let them in. Tim also purchased 5,000 bottles of water to make sure that the protesters are hydrated. So Tim, I just wanted to publicly thank you for everything and let you know we appreciate you. God bless you all and be safe.